Hello, welcome to Kate's Egg. Right now we are fixing the drill because the hydraulic motor on the grain auger for the grain tank broke down. So hopefully we can get it running and back in the field today. So the hydraulic motor runs the auger that's used to fill the tanks of the drill?
Yes.
That's Darcy and his drill over there. He runs the John Deere one.
See, this drills work under the 50% rule too, Kate. At any given time.
50% are broken down.
Yep.
Just like combines.
Right.
This drill is a tow between, so that means that the tank is between the tractor and the implement. The one Darcy's running is a tow behind, meaning the tank is behind the implement.
Funny there ain't no cord drawers for that. There probably is.
Do you think that everything's fixed, Dad?
You don't know, Jim. Try and run it, Kate. Look at the monitors and everything.
Is this something you've had happen before?
Not that I'm aware of on this one. I mean, you get oil leaks, you gotta fix them.
Yes. Now we are going to take a few passes and see if everything's working right, which hopefully it is.
My hands are dirty, so I'm wearing gloves so I don't get the steering wheel dirty.
That's a good idea. Something's beeping, but we're not sure what. Uncle Chris just switched the fertilizer tanks because we got a notification that one was low. You have to miss the rock pile, which can be quite challenging. When seeding, outside passes are always the hardest. So we're putting down 63 pounds of seed and 100 pounds of fertilizer an acre, and it says that on that monitor right there. When seeding, occasionally you have to cut out the coulees. Rather than going through coulees,
No, I go through them, but the seed drops on the ground because the shanks won't go down in them. Some drills have individual shanks and they'll go down. Otherwise, it just drops them on top of the ground and just grow. And there used to be all wild oaks along the draws. You double seeded, you didn't have many oaks, but if you didn't, more competition
oh wow,
for the wild oaks.
that's very interesting.
There's more moisture, so it supports a greater population.
The shanks are the part of the drill that put the seed in the ground. So this is the coulee. You can tell where the barley didn't grow because of the stubble.
It got hailed out. It got hailed out in the spring, but it grew back, so we cut some of it. The next time we'll just seed on through it.
And that's what you mean by double seeding.
Yeah, double seed. So we have more plant population and there's usually more moisture.
And in areas where you get a lot more moisture, you can put more seed down per acre than we can because it will grow.
In Fairfield, where they do the irrigated barley,
Okay.
they actually, some of them seed it twice. They seed it one direction and then they seed it another direction.
Wow.
They get their plant population up, and also it serves to hold barley lodges really well when you have a big heavy crop, and if you seed in opposite directions, the stalks hold each other up a little bit rather than leaning all the same way.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting.
They used to do, some people used to do that. I don't know if they still do.
Would that help with sawfly also, with keeping the stem up?
I don't know. No one's going to seed twice on dry land anyway. It might, I don't know. Anything. They seed different varieties together. Some they seed solid stem and a hollow stem together with the theory that the solid stem won't get the sawfly very badly and will hold the other stuff up.
Wow, that's interesting. Have we ever done that before?
No.
When you're selling grain at an elevator, do they look at the variety? Can it be mixed like that?
It depends on what the customer wants. Generally, winter wheat, spring wheat. You can just see where it's not seeded because it's too deep in there.
Yes.
You know, some drills have individual shanks, so they would do that. They would go down individually into that little pothole. But these don't have individuals like that. Well, they're individual, but
So they move separately from each other.
Yeah. These aren't quite as independent. They are a little bit, but not as much as the newer ones. They have a hydraulic cylinder on every shank that puts it up and down.
Oh, wow.
They're nice drills, but they cost like the moon.
Yes, and it's important to keep expenses down in farming where you can.
Now we'll go back to making the first round.
So replacing the hydraulic motor, That fixed everything?
Well, it helped it.
And now the fan speed is not dropping on the corners, so that's really great. Yes, there's a part that's still not gotten seeded. The shanks came out of the ground a bit there, so that just drops the seed on top of the ground. As you can see, this is the edge pass of the field. And this one doesn't have an auto steer line, so you have to hand drive it.
Well, yeah, because it goes in and out. It's not a straight line.
Yes. Would you say doing the edge passes or cutting out the coulee is the hardest part of seeding?
Neither one of them are hard.
Something you have to do.
It's something you have to do. Yeah, they aren't hard. Unless there's a bunch of weeds along the edge, and sometimes you plug up.
Oh, I never even thought about that. How long have you been driving drill for?
50 years.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's incredible.
At least 50.
So you've seen a lot of the progression of technology.
I suppose so. Not all of it's good. Some of it's good. This is nice. The auto steer is nice once you get used to it.
Yes. Has your favorite part of farming always been seeding?
I've always liked seeding better than anything.
There's two separate monitors, whereas in the other tractor, there isn't?
Right, because the other tractor's all John Deere stuff and it all interfaces. This one isn't all John Deere. One's Flexicoil, so it doesn't interface with the John Deere.
So it's a flex coil drill and a John Deere tractor is pulling it, and our other drill is John Deere and a John Deere tractor pulls that. So it all goes together a lot simpler. Ooh, those green weeds. So they're trouble for the drill.
They'll go through. They're the neighbor's weeds, they aren't ours.
They're the neighbor's weeds. There's certainly a lot of them. Some people do the end passes last.
Yeah, because they don't. When you turn around, they don't want the tracks. They don't want to look at the tracks.
Do the tracks make a difference in the yields of the crop?
Probably not. I mean, some people that's the argument between a toe behind or toe between. Some people don't like the tracks in the field, so they get the toe. This is a furrow drill, so it's standing on top of the furrows, so it's pushing the furrows down. I don't think it's pushing the wheat down. If it's real wet and makes great big deep tracks, it makes a difference, yeah.
Definitely.
That's not a problem we have very often.
No, not at all. So there are two types of drills, the ones we run and then one called a disc drill. And the disc drill just slices the ground and drops the seed in, whereas this kind of drill creates furrows. What is the main difference?
The theory was the furrows catch a little bit of snow and it protects the seed over the winter. When they invented the furrow drill, I read somewhere where it pushed the winter wheat seeding area 200 miles to the north because the seed was protected over the winter and didn't winter kill.
Oh wow!
When they first started breaking this up, they didn't have furrow drills. They just had disc drills to double check to see if we have any plugged boots before it goes more. The drill backs up once in a while a little bit.
So now Uncle Chris and I are going to check to see if there's any plugged boots. And you look by seeing if there's any seed and fertilizer dropped on the ground. The white is fertilizer and the red is seed. And you check all of the boots. Some people have monitors that will tell you if you have a plugged boot, and we used to have those, but we don't anymore. No plugged boots. And our hoses are clear so that if they get plugged with seed, we'll be able to tell, which is really fantastic. Whereas if you had ones that were black, you wouldn't be able to tell, unless you had a monitor, of course. And now my Uncle Chris is going to check to make sure there is seed and fertilizer in the ground where we've gone. You can see this is the part we haven't seeded, and this is the part we have. Oh yeah, there it is. Very cool. That's awesome. Always lots of rocks in the field.
I just learned how to do this. Track 0, then it gets us a new screen. So we're going to do A plus heading. So that's the one we're using. That means line A plus a heading. And I'm going to do 180 degrees, which is north and south. Do new desired heading. 180 degrees. Okay, and it should give us a whole bunch more lines. So, see the new, it has new lines now.
Yes.
See it? That's where we're going to drive with that blue line, and I'm probably going to overlap quite a little bit because this goes in and out.
So now the new auto track is set, and now no hands on the steering wheel until the end when you have to make the turn. But other than that, it completely drives itself, and it even paints a blue line where you're seating.
I have to overlap quite a little bit because the side, the edge, isn't a straight line. So in order to cover that, I don't know how much. This is a mile-long strip.
You don't want to have any skips.
Yeah, I could have probably been over a little bit, but you never know. Just set a new AB, and I did the 2 end walls on the end. I'm just coming down now.
Okay, well, there's only corners left in the fertilizer truck anyway. There's probably no.
Wow, should be quite a bit of wheat left.
So the drill was not in the ground, and we weren't seeding, and none of us noticed.
Playing around with the auto steer.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, now we're driving back, going 7 miles an hour, 7.5. Now Uncle Chris is going to set a new AB line for when we're really seeding, I guess, because it looked like we were overlapping a little too much. But we don't want to have any skips. So we'll still overlap a little bit because the field wasn't straight and there will be variations in the edge of the seed. And it's hard to tell how much you should overlap when the field's a mile long. As you can see, that mark right there was a rock being dragged, and Uncle Chris was explaining the toe between, so the tank between the implement and the tractor, and the implement is that part that puts the seeds in the ground, and then the toe behind, and the toe behind you can see the middle of your implement or drill when you're seeding, so that makes it a lot nicer to tell if you're dragging a rock or anything like that. Now Uncle Chris is setting the new AB lines. This time we are definitely going to remember to put the drill in the ground, and it was painting a line on the screen because the drill and the tractor are separate because they're not both John Deere, so it can make it a little bit confusing. Well, that's helpful if you want to seed. Oh, that was the rock that was making that huge line. Wow, that was a big rock. We're overlapping quite a bit here, as you can see. That's how much the field changes in 1 mile.
You can see it down there.
Yeah, and then it goes back in. As you can see, we're not seeding too much new ground here, but when we get down there, we'll be...
Seeding less.
Yes, exactly. Changes quite a bit. And this goes in, so if we would have been seeding the maximum amount we could up there, we would have had a skip down here. Looking at the field, you wouldn't think that, but when seeding, it's such an integral part. That's a huge difference. Now we're using pretty much the whole drill. It's right at the point where if it moves any more over, there's going to be a skip. Oh no, we had a skip. Oh, you can see on your screen.
The edges are on this field.
That's crazy. You wouldn't think it by looking at it. But yeah, the grass is now very thin, and up there it was very wide. Can you make your field straight by taking out some of that grass?
Well, they've piled rocks in that grass, the old timers.
Oh.
When they picked rocks, they just dumped it on the side. So in order to move that,
You've got a big job of picking rocks. Wow, and that's kind of a huge skip. And at one point during the field, we were hardly seeding any ground. That's crazy.
You know, if we were going round and round, it wouldn't make any difference because we're just following the leading edge. Or you can set it so it just follows the edge, but then if you have a wobble, it just keeps adding to it every time.
Oh, that's not good.
We're going to go and pick that up now. We've seeded this sort of because we have the double seeding.
Yeah, the edge is very close here, and then way up there it's extremely wide. And then this is the skip right here. You can tell the difference between the color of the ground. The light color hasn't been seeded and the dark color has.
Maybe we have a leak somewhere.
Does that have to do with the same thing you were fixing earlier?
I don't know. have a low hydraulic pressure thing here. Now we'll go pick up our skip.
So all it was a hose that popped out?
Hydraulic hose in the back that runs everything popped out. That was probably when I turned.
And now we're back seating, picking up the skip. It keeps getting smaller and smaller and then non-existent. The first pass is always the hardest, and we are just making sure everything is straight because, as Uncle Chris was telling me, if you have it on contour, it'll follow the lines, but you'll all of a sudden have really big curves in the field because it just gets bigger each pass. So it's good that we're getting this all done right now. We have one more skip, and then the rest should be auto steer. Dad's got the drone. Then Darcy's way over there. So this one's 57 feet long, and then how long is Darcy's?
60, I think.